Hey guys, how you doing? Uh, I'm here to just drop my input on the action camera debate. Um, GoPro has been pretty much the king of action cameras for quite some time. I bought the first one I bought was back in 2010 with the Hero HD. Uh, Pretty simple camera for the time, but it shot 1080p at 60 1080p. I'm sorry, 1080p at 30 frames a second. I'm sorry. 1080p at 30 frames a second. It was just a no frills, put your stuff in. Didn't even have Pro Tune. It was just basically set the resolution and record. I mean, there's a few options, but very, very few options at all. I mean, there's just pretty much put your stuff in, shoot, record. The cameras have gone quite a long way since 2010. Um, GoPro's latest camera right now, which was released last year, is the GoPro Hero 11 Black. They usually release their cameras around the September timeframe, so we're about another month away from the Hero 12 Black. Well, DJI, they've been in the action camera game for a few years. They're on their fourth iteration of the action camera. They just released the Action 4 a few weeks ago, so they're trying to get into the game and steal the thunder from GoPro. As well, DJI is pretty much the reigning king of drones. So if you're a serious drone pilot, chances are you're going to have a DJI drone, one of the many flavors that they do have. And they're great drones. And DJI has actually made a pretty good headway on their action cameras. The first few action cameras didn't really hold well against the comparable the GoPro camera. But DJI is really squeezing it to GoPro with this Hero the Action 4 that they just released. And so the big question is now is how is GoPro going to handle with the Hero 12 Black? The Action 4 actually holds up pretty well against the Hero 11 that they released last year. And so GoPro has to really do something to one up DJI before the DJI actually takes over as the king of action cameras. And so back in the first part of August, someone leaked a picture of a GoPro that supposedly had a 1-inch sensor marking on the side. That's normally where the GoPro model number is usually printed on the camera, and on the back it had a bigger touch screen on the back. So many people thought, oh wow, GoPro's going to do a 1-inch sensor and all that stuff, and getting all excited. And of course, obviously, we don't. I mean, people leak stuff. Is it a troll? Is it hype? Who knows? I mean, people take these things and they start analyzing them. I'm like, honestly, guys, it could be just a troll. I mean, some of these guys are going to be eating crow next month when the actual camera comes out. How wrong they were with their analysis. And I'm not going to sit there and predict what GoPro's going to do or GoPro's not going to do. There's a second leak that came out just a few days ago, basically stating the GoPro Hero 12 Black is not going to be that much of an update from the Hero 11 Black. It's going to have the same sensor, same resolution, a few more minutes of battery life, and they've done some cosmetic changes, like put some speckles on the front cover and stuff like that. So people are like, oh gosh, GoPro's really going to screw up, and they're not going to really hold up well against the DJI. Again, that could be a troll too, guys. The leak on August 1st was a troll. It was an obvious troll. And this leak, I guarantee, is going to be a troll. Now, my personal opinion, again, this is just an opinion. I could be wrong. Again, I don't know. I won't know until the camera comes out. I don't think GoPro is going to really allow DJI, if they're smart, GoPro is not going to really allow DJI to overtake them. But I don't think we're going to get a 1-inch sensor or one of those things. I mean, I think they just came out with a new sensor last year with the Hero 11 Black. And again, these things cost money. Even the processor, like they just, we're on the second generation of the GP2. Yeah, because the GoPro Hero 10 had the GP2 and the 11 has the GP2. Okay, so they've had two generations on the GP2 processor. again, processor developments is a lot of money. So I mean, they're going to want to get their investment out of the processor, and usually it's about maybe 3-4 cameras before 4 generations before they start popping new processor. So I don't think we're going to see a GP3 until the Hero 13 or maybe even 14 at the latest. So I think we got 1 or 2 more generations left until they go to the GP3 processor. They're gonna push this existing processor to its limits before they start thinking about updating a processor. As far as specs, resolution stuff, I mean, of course, the August 1st leak said that GoPro Hero 12 is going to shoot 8K, which is horse hockey, as Colonel Potter from MASH would say, horse hockey. No. Again, no. Who here has an 8K monitor or an 8K computer that can edit 8K video? Nobody, hardly anybody. And also we're talking about obviously with the higher resolutions, you're talking about more heat, more loss of battery. It ain't gonna happen. Most people are still watching 1080p on their phones, so I mean 4K is nice. I mean even 5.3K. I mean, most people only shoot 5.3K so they can downscale it to 4K. So again, 8K, no. I mean, I don't think we're going to see 8K anytime soon. Now, as far as the overheating, obviously these GoPros do get hot. Now, that is one of the biggest complaints I've heard many people say about the GoPros, is that they get really hot, overheat, and shut down. Now, if you are shooting indoors without any airflow around the camera, yes, they will get hot, and they will shut down after they get hot enough to protect, obviously, to protect the processor and protect the camera from being damaged. That is an issue with these GoPros. It's been going on. I mean, even the Hero 7 Black, if you put it in its highest frame rate, highest resolution, it will get hot enough to burn your fingers. So, and so they will know saying, well, the DJI doesn't get hot. They don't overheat and shut down. I mean, again, I don't know. I don't have a DJI, so I can't verify that. But who knows? Again, I mean, it could be something GoPro really needs to address. But in general, I think that the GoPros do a lot of processing, and the way their processors are designed, they're going to generate a lot more heat. I would have to know the specs of the GoPro versus the specs of the DJI as far as how their video processing and their processing logic works, and how much how the circuitry is designed, or how the camera is actually built to dissipate heat. But any piece of electronic, especially a camera, is going to generate heat. The higher your resolution, the higher frame rate, the higher you turn on a 10-bit, the image stabilization, all that's going to generate heat. And now I can speak for the GoPro, but they are designed to have airflow around the camera, because I've had them overheat in an indoor setting. But anytime I've been out mountain biking, even with a little bit of airflow around them in a hot desert during August, in the middle of the day, never had one overheat and shut down. Now, yes, they do get hot. I mean, trust me. And when I record, I turn the camera on, record, and I go. I don't stop and stop. I mean, the camera records all the time. And yes, it gets warm and it gets pretty hot. But if it's got any bit of airflow around it, it's not going to overheat. And as far as the camera freezing up, use the recommended SD card for that particular GoPro that you're using, that is on GoPro's website. If you use those cards, you're going to be fine. I've used GoPro recommended SD cards for my cameras, and never had one just act flaky and shut down recording, because it just never has. So if you use an off-brand cheap SD card that's not on their list, you do run a good chance of having issues recording. Again, go to the manufacturer's website. If you're using DJI, go to the manufacturer's website. Use the recommended card that they've tested, and they say, yep, this card works well with the product. If you do that, you won't go wrong. Now, as far as the battle between DJI and GoPro, I think this is a action camera in general comment. I believe that far as innovation, what they can do, I think it's pretty much on almost a flat plateau now, because they pushed as far as resolutions. They really can't go any higher. You can pop up new frame rates. Say right now you got 240 in some of the modes, and most people don't really shoot much slow motion anyway. So I don't think you're going to get too much more bumping up in resolutions or bumping up in frame rates. I mean, I think as far stabilization is excellent on both, at least on the GoPro side. The stabilization has been great since the Hero 7 Black. There's one YouTuber that was kind of knocking the Hero 7, saying that stabilization was horrible, and I would say horse hockey on that one. I don't know if the guy's actually owned a Hero 7 Black. I have owned every Hero flagship camera since the HD. I don't, I even had the Hero 8, which I didn't like. Now the Hero 8 Black I didn't like because GoPro decided not to put the removable lens on it, which I thought was a bunch of junk. The camera itself was, it was a good camera, but not having a replaceable lens, especially if you're doing any type of action, is a no bueno in my book. And I guess they caught a lot of flack, and when they released the Hero 9 Black, they went back to replaceable lenses because they got a huge fuss over that. But I've owned every one of them. The Hero 5 Black was the first one that had electronic image stabilization. It was better than nothing, but it definitely still shook. Hero 6 was better, but you can definitely tell it was still some shaky. But the Hero 7 Black's Hyper Smooth actually was excellent. And I would go far as say it was actually a gimbal killer. Not because you couldn't tell the difference side by side between a gimbal and the Hero 7 Black, is that the minute improvement that you would get with the gimbal didn't warrant the extra money you would have to pay for the gimbal to get a very little improvement in stabilization. Hero 7 Black's Hyper Smooth was excellent. I would still use it today. If that was my only camera, I would still use it today and be happy to post it. The Hyper Smooth was excellent on it. Then after that, it got even better and better and better. You'd have to be an in-depth pixel peeper to really make a fuss. Really, do they even need Hyper Smooth 6.0? Really, do they really need it? The only thing they can do is improve it at night. The Hyper Smooth doesn't work great at night just because that's just the way it is. Electronic image stabilization needs that light, needs that image to work, and the darker the image is, it'll make it harder for it to work, and you will notice some shaking. But again, most people use action cameras at day, and that goes to the bigger sensor debate. Okay, we got this big sensor, we got better low light performance. Okay, well, if you do low light, if you do evening and nighttime shooting, and that would be a valid sell point. But then again, if you're out during the day mountain biking, the bigger sensor really, it's not a big deal. Having a big sensor is not a big deal. The only reason why the Hero 11 Black's sensor is nice because it has the 8:7 aspect ratio, and you can do a vertical or a horizontal crop without really losing much of the hardly any of the image quality. So that's where it really comes into play, is if you want to do a Instagram or you want to do a YouTube video, you want to go 9:16 or 16:9. That's where that big sensor really comes in handy. It's not really much for us, look how well my image looks and stuff like that. Yes, you get a little bit better light, it's a little bit better image, but again, is the average person on YouTube going to notice it? Probably not. The 10-bit color actually is better than even the bigger sensor. And with the Hero 11 Black having the 10-bit, they used to coming out with the 10-bit color. Now, my guess, the Hero 12 Black may improve on the 10-bit color. They may have more options, or different types of stuff they can do with the 10-bit. Again, I'm not an expert on all the 10-bit stuff and all that stuff, but I know there's options that the Hero 4, the Action 4 has with the 10-bit, the D-Log and other stuff like that. But I imagine the Hero 12 may, give you some of those options. Again, GoPro is going to make some improvements. Now, how much, I don't know. Is the camera going to be worth upgrading from Hero Black 11 Black? I don't know. I'll be honest with you. But again, my opinion is wait and see what they actually come out with. Don't believe the leaks. I mean, people are looking at leak and judging GoPro again. Because again, leaks. We already know the first leak was false. So who knows if this leak's false or not? People leak. There's leaks all the time. Anytime something comes out, people leak. Again, wait to see what the final product comes out before you make your judgment. I don't think GoPro is going to sit by and say, well, we'll just tweak the Hero 11 Black and just throw it out there. And while DJI Action 4 is really starting to pump up some good products, so they would be stupid to let them take the lead. I don't think GoPro's going to. I don't think GoPro's going to be I don't think the Hero 12 Black is going to be a tremendous upgrade over the 11, but I don't think it's going to be a little update as the leak says. I think it's going to be somewhere in between. They're going to do just enough to keep the edge with DJI, and that's my opinion. Have a good day, guys. Bye bye.